y'all. I'm April.
And I'm Caroline. And this is your Bloody Happy Hour.
Caroline, are you ready for this?
This is your newest guilty pleasure.
It's the bloodiest part of your week.
Did we say something about it also being happy hour?
Show did.
Because we about to be sipping on some murder. Bloody Happy Hour.
Hey, y'all. This is April.
Hey, guys. It's Caroline.
And this is Bloody Happy Hour.
And it's Thirsty Thursday, so we hope that you're thirsty.
We hope that you are bloodthirsty because y'all are now officially our
Bloodies.
Our bloodies.
Bloody gang.
You're part of our bloody gang, and we are so excited. We love it every time you press play to listen to our voices.
We do. And what you should do right now, if you haven't already, is go rate, review, and subscribe, or tell your friends or family or anybody.
Actually, do all the above.
Yeah,
no
do
or.
all those things.
No or.
We just need to start telling them what exactly to do.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
maybe
what-
they're like you and they like to be told exactly.
I love.
Should we do bullet, like number it off? 1.
Yeah.
First thing, rate.
Yep.
If you got Apple Podcasts, all you do is press the 5 stars, right?
Yes.
Review. I think you do it on multiple platforms, but I only know Apple and Audible. Review. Then it says write a review. You have to click that, write something, anything. And then once you listen, press that plus sign or the check sign. That's the subscribe button. And that means all of our episodes will pop up. And then all you got to do is click on it.
Yep.
To listen. So
How
rate, review,
easy
subscribe.
is that?
You do not even have to have a good IQ to be able to do that.
You sure don't.
Speaking of IQs, the serial killer I'm talking about
What?
has got some IQ issues today.
Oh no. Oh no. But did he watch? Was he given porn as a child?
He was not. He breaks all the rules, so I can't wait to tell you about him. And we are actually going to get right to him after Caroline tells us about this new missing person.
Listen.
I think she's pretty obsessed with
Missing
missing
people.
white girls.
Listen, we got another missing white woman, so you know it's going to be a serious case.
Oh, gosh.
You know it is. So this lady, her name is Heidi Plank, and so she lives in the LA area, and she's 39, and she had gone to one of her son. She's a 10-year-old son. She went to his football game. Well, she brought her dog with her to the game, and her ex-husband was already there at the game, and they go watch the game, whatever, normal stuff. Well, she leaves randomly with the dog around halftime, which is not normal.
I think I just figured out you only read this article because it mentioned a dog.
It's possible. So they leave the game at halftime, and the ex-husband was like, oh, that was kind of weird. Like, she usually stays for the whole game. So her and her ex-husband have like 50-50 custody. So that's why she wouldn't have taken her son with her. So then does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a few hours later, the dog is found in an apartment complex, this like high-rise apartment building on the 28th floor. Like, apparently this lady has nothing to do with this apartment complex. And the people who find the dog are like, we don't, like, they didn't know what to do because they just kept the dog until somebody claimed it. And then meanwhile, nobody really knows that she's missing because it's just a few hours after she left the game.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Okay.
And so a few days go by, she doesn't pick her kid up from school. So then the ex-husband is like, okay, now this is weird. And then they figure out all the pieces. They end up locating the dog, but she is nowhere to be found. She's gone. Her car is like, there's no car, or she has a cell phone, like a work phone, and that's not found. A computer's not found. They go to her house. They do find one of her phones, but they try to track her other devices, and all of the location services are turned off.
What's the sketchy part of it? I feel
the sketchy part is the husband believes, the ex-husband is like, thinking there's some foul play.
Okay.
And he had, a few days before all of this, got a call from the SEC, which is the Securities and Exchange Commission. And it was a completely random call. He had no idea what it was about. And they were asking about Heidi's boss. Okay, so Heidi works for this place, Camden Capital Partners, whatever. She works as like a controller, executive assistant, and this is like an investment company.
Okay.
So apparently this company is under investigation by the SEC for securities fraud.
They're stealing money.
They are stealing money. So apparently her boss and her boss's partner had stolen like $43 million from their clients.
Well, there you go.
And so that's all we know so far.
So-
But there's got to be video footage of her at that apartment, because it's like, I mean, it sounds like it's a nice bougie apartment.
Oh yeah, it's probably like not easy to get to, to get to the floors.
Yeah, you have to like show
somebody
your key
invited
card.
there.
Yes.
They need to like dig to see if that apartment has any ties to this company. Like, do they own some of that building, some of that property? Does somebody own an apartment there?
This is I mean, what do you think? You think that she knew about something and she was about to like testify, and they just like,
Let's get rid of her.
Did they just let her keep her dog alive? I mean, I know
They're
that
probably
usually,
dog people. They're probably like, we can kill her.
but
Most dog people put dog lives before
all
humans'
dog lives matter.
So they were probably like, leave the dog. Somebody will take care of it, but we need to get rid of her. It sounds like white collar crime turned red collar. Let's just see how it ends. Maybe we'll know more. Okay.
So her name is Heidi Plank.
Okay.
So
Heidi.
I'll keep y'all
Heidi.
updated.
Well, I'm sure Nancy Grace will be talking about it.
Oh, I just listened to the episode.
All right. So if y'all are ready.
Okay, wait. Are you watching anything really quickly, or what's a little recap?
I'm drinking some Truly. I didn't even ask what you got in your cup.
Oh, I got Skinny Girl Margarita.
Okay, Skinny Girl Margarita. I got some Truly. You may not be allowed to drink Truly because I had to edit out a lot of belches on the last episode.
I had some good
It
ones.
was the bubbles.
It was really amazing. I was like, this is great.
No, have 14 Trulies, please.
Oh, I'm sure I will.
So I am actually on a pause on a couple of my shows. I don't know why. I just haven't turned it on. We've been obsessed with HGTV. So I didn't listen.
I can't.
We're about to do.
I can't with Sweet Pea and his HGTV.
I was like, are you coming out of the closet very slowly?
Very slowly.
No, he's serious about a reno that we're going to do. So he's like watching it and probably about to get Pinterest.
Oh my God.
But I am 100% excited about my Dexter coming back. So I hope I got some Dexter lovers out there. We thought he was gone forever. And if you really love a show, when the show is done, a piece of your heart is just like locked up and hidden away. Right?
Yeah.
Dexter was one of those shows for me, but for a lot of people. And now he back.
I can't believe
3 days.
It was like, how long of a break was that?
I don't know. Serial killers are dormant for a long time.
That's true.
He was lying dormant, but he is awake, and I just cannot wait.
Well, I'm watching The Impeachment, an American Crime Story, which is on FX, and it is all about the Lewinsky Clinton situation.
Oh my goodness!
And it is so interesting because it all happened whenever. I remember it all, but I was how old?
What was the crime? Getting a blowjob? That's not a crime. I hate when people act like they don't give head.
No, it wasn't a crime. Well, it was. It was a scandal. But also, according to the show, like, she was so in love with him.
Well, she was 0 years old.
I know, but it's just like crazy because you just don't know. Because I felt like I was. How old were we?
I wonder how old was he? Like, was it?
He was like 50 something. She was 20 something.
Oh, okay.
I think. And so I think the crime was that obviously he's the president and he's like, because he like did stuff in Arkansas with these other chicks, or he got accused of it all.
Yeah.
But it's this Linda Tripp.
Oh, I remember that name.
I know.
She's the one that was the best friend.
She was the one who had worked at the White House and got like put at the Pentagon, and then Lewinsky got put at the Pentagon, and then they started becoming friends, and then Monica started like confiding in Linda and was like just telling her all the tea, like spilling the tea.
Yes.
Too much tea she spilled.
Yeah.
And then Linda was like, she's trying to like be on the come up, and she's trying to get some money. She's trying to get a book deal. But then the people are like, you don't have any, your story is not good. And so then she found out that Lewinsky was not banging or whatever, blowjob the president. Yeah. And so then she got to like talking to her and then started recording their phone calls. And so then she like turned those tapes over, and like Lewinsky had like signed some, she like got subpoenaed and she signed it saying like that she didn't like that she was not involved with the president. So basically she like lied under oath or something. Okay, so what's our story for today, April?
Okay,
can't wait.
I am excited to bring you guys, I think, the first Black serial killer that we have talked about.
Is it?
Hey, we haven't. We've been picking on all the white serial killers. So I'm going to bring you a black one because we do not think that they really exist. Like, we know there's a couple of them, but there's a whole lot more than you realize.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exciting. His name is Carl Eugene Watts. And I have to tell you that he breaks every serial killer rule ever. What we know about serial killers, or what we thought we knew, especially back then, he broke all the rules. Mm-hmm. Oh, hell, what you doing? You been getting out your notebook?
I'm going to write in case I needed, so I can remember all the people. You know I'm getting out my notebook because you're about to make me close my computer.
Yep, close the computer. Full attention. Okay. This guy's name is Carl Eugene Watts. I only found out about him because one of my book club members were like, let's talk about him. He's from Texas. Got a book. Book's called Hidden Brutality. It's like barely a book. It's like an easy reader. It's like 70 pages. Caroline, like this is a book up your alley. Very easy read, but a good book. So we did it for my book club. We talked about him. Carl Eugene Watts. Baby was born in Killeen, Texas in 1953.
Here we go.
His daddy was a soldier, so they lived on the Fort Hood base. So you might recognize Fort Hood if you've heard the Vanessa Guillen story that, I don't know how you haven't. It like spread like a wildfire, like Gabby Petito's story. Daddy's name was Richard. Mama's name was Dorothy. They were married. Like, she was a high school art teacher. He was a soldier, like normal family. Lived in Fort Hood for a little bit, but they ended up missing like up north, and they went to Virginia. And so back at home in Virginia, they found out they're having a little sister is coming. And so he's going to have a little sister. But I guess Daddy did not like this idea. So he basically packed up and like threw him the deuces. Didn't leave a letter, like didn't leave a, it's not a voicemail.
No.
What's it called? No. Answer machine message. Because this is, a long time ago. He didn't do any of he just like left, didn't tell anybody bye.
He didn't take anything, he just gone.
Didn't take anything. And so they still to this day don't know why he left or where he went, or, as of this book was written. So Mom was like, I can't do this by myself. I got 2 kids. By this time, what's his name? Corral is only 2 years old. So it's not like this is not going to be a big impact on him. Like, you don't even know your daddy, basically.
No.
So she moves to the Detroit area because she has a bunch of family. So they're in the Detroit area now, right? Because they have family around. And so he goes to see his grandma. He goes to see his aunts. Mom's working as a full-time teacher. Like, nothing to me seems sus. He finds out when he's visiting his grandma, because she lives in the country, that he has a love for hunting.
Oh.
So he will hunt kill, skin rabbits because he loves their fur. That was like his trophy. He didn't even want to eat the meat. Like
Supposed to eat a rabbit?
yeah, rabbit is supposed to be good lean meat. Like my brother-in-law, he literally,
Oh no.
his whole life sits on the front porch
Eats
during the winter
rabbits?
months, gets his pellet gun, shoots a rabbit, then he'll take it in the kitchen, gut it, skin it, and then cook it and eat it.
Oh, I feel like
Is he going to be a serial
I
killer?
think he might be some kind of killer. I don't know if that's really
I think it's
normal.
just like country life. I mean, it's hillbilly. but-
Why do he might as well get a squirrel?
No, well, I mean,
They look like the same things.
But who's going to eat a squirrel?
Whoever's going to eat a rabbit.
True, I wouldn't eat it either. So maybe it's a little sus. I don't know. Y'all tell us if y'all eat rabbits, and if you do you skin them and
I
clean
get
them in
like
your
a
kitchen?
rabbit's foot, like a lucky rabbit's foot.
Yeah.
Like, okay, go ahead.
Well, he likes the fur.
What's his name? Carl?
Carl. His name is Carl Eugene Watts.
I'm getting Carl and Dean Coral.
I know. I'll do too. We
Okay,
will.
I didn't know.
It'll
if that
happen.
Okay.
It'll happen. They're actually probably friends. So, he started loving hunting, but still everything was kind of normal. He would hang out with his cousins, and they were maybe real hillbilly because they extended his name to Corral.
What?
Corral
Why?
Eugene Watts. I don't know. So this name stuck with him for forever. So
That's
he
why
will
I'm
now be
confused.
called Corral Eugene Watts. Like even the police call him that later on. So it's like a nickname that just sticks with
C-A-R-O-L?
Corral. Yeah.
Let's learn spelling.
So Corral wasn't very smart in school. Like there was reports that said he had a 75 IQ. So if average is 85, he was 75. So it's very below. Or if normal's 85, he was 75. And he just couldn't do normal assignments. Like he needed a lot of work, and he'd get frustrated, but he would never give up. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then he got a little bit more behind because in 3rd grade, he developed meningitis. We have a shot for that now.
Maybe he was anti-vaxxer.
He was an anti-vaxxer. And that meningitis turned into polio. We got a shot for that too, right?
Yes. Remember I talked about polio on one of the episodes and how the lady always used to take her son to the hospital to look at all them polio people.
Oh, yeah.
So he would, it had to do with, it was the eyeball killer.
Yeah.
Anyway,
She was scared that he was going to get polio.
Yeah, and he was like he was killing animals and mounting them and putting marbles for their eyeballs and all that stuff. But
so maybe all kids that hunt will be serial killers.
probably
Their
get
correlation. Or they'll get polio.
Oh shit!
So it progressed, and so he had to spend a year of his life in the hospital getting poked, getting prodded, getting spinal taps. He didn't go to school. He was like in pain, and so this was traumatic for him. Like, can you imagine?
Terrible. Yeah.
As a 3rd grader, like
No.
being in pain.
No.
So this is where he spent a year of his life, but he got better.
Okay.
So then I was like, maybe this kind of trauma could have caused what you're about to hear to happen. It's going to happen. I don't know. That's the only traumatic thing that's happened in his life. So his childhood is pretty
I feel
boring.
like that's an excuse for him.
And then we go into the stereotype because he starts sports, and guess what? He is amazing at every sports. He was amazing at football, basketball, baseball, and track. He could run. So even though he was shitty in the grades, he made it work so that he can play sports, and he excelled.
We got to have something going for us. If you're not a smart person, at least you're athletic.
Well, he was very athletic, and even after school, he would pick up boxing. And so he would box and win like the Golden Gloves title. Like he was just all around athlete.
Come on now. Okay.
Mama found a new boyfriend because remember Daddy left a long time ago.
He left. He just gone.
She's dating a mechanic, and she must have been real thirsty because this mechanic has 6 kids.
Oh no! He must be good with his hands.
She's got 2. He's got 6, and then they get married and they have 2 more together.
Why would you? No. Okay. Well,
so there's
good.
10 kids living in this house.
So you got a daycare.
basically.
They're basically running a daycare. They probably need to get a license.
I know. I think so. I think I just figured out why Coral became a serial killer.
He's like, there's too many children in here.
In the house.
There's probably some like hidden in the back wall and everything. Yeah, that's probably where he was.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So, but Coral, because Coral was so quiet, like he kind of faded into the background. Like, so they didn't mess with him. He didn't mess with them. He was the oldest. He did his own thing.
Okay. Well, he's the oldest.
I mean, I would like go in my, I would like trap myself in a closet to not deal with all those kids. So, so still nothing like bad. Well, he picks up a paper route because, you know, he's boxing and he's playing all the sports, but then he wants to make some money too. He wants to be busy. So he picks up a paper route. And one day he just knocks on the door of this lady's house. She answers it and he whoops her ass like he's in a boxing match. Right hook, left hook, uppercut, jab, 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 like
he
everything.
Just starts beating her up.
Just start beating her up. Gets on top of her. She's screaming. And so the scream gets so loud, he gets startled and he leaves. But instead of like running and hiding or going home and panicking, he just goes finish and throws the rest of his papers. And he's just hitting front doors with the papers that he's throwing.
What?
Then he goes home. And he has his normal evening routine. He like eats, he takes his bath, he goes to bed, he does whatever. 4 days later, the police come because she's now kind of better and healed. She doesn't die. And she tells them who it is. She knows them. And so they come and they knock on the door and they pick him up. And he just like calmly is like, yeah, I did it. And so they're like, well, why? And he was like, I just felt like beating somebody up. He had stopped boxing a couple weeks before because he got hit and he didn't like being on the other end. So he like basically quit mid-fight.
He must have like a women hate. Like he hates women.
I know, but I just haven't felt I don't know why yet.
Well, I guess because his mom had to go marry that guy with 18 kids. He's like getting attention.
He's pissed. Maybe that's it. You might have just diagnosed it because I was like, why?
I feel like I might be some kind of psychologist now at this point.
Let's just go ahead and get you.
Okay. Well, I have my notebook out and everything, so I really kind of look like a psychologist.
She's real official.
I'm official.
So instead of going to juvenile, they took him to a Detroit mental clinic, which may be good because they're like, why did he just want to randomly beat up somebody?
And he was how old?
He was 15.
Ish. Okay.
Yeah, 15 years old. And so when he was there, like he was open up and telling all the things. And so he was like, I lost my virginity at 14, but I didn't like it. I felt numb. It didn't feel good. And the doctors were like, okay. And he was like, I also have these dreams where I'm killing and beating women. Like dreams. He didn't say nightmares. Note that. It's a dream. And so the doctors are like, well, how do you feel afterwards? And he goes, oh, I wake up feeling better and refreshed. So the doctors are like, okay, well, come back tomorrow.
They're like, oh, you're fine.
Yeah. So he ends up being at this mental clinic for maybe 6 weeks.
Oh.
And after multiple sessions, they couldn't get him to understand that what he did was wrong. He didn't feel any remorse, and he couldn't even say, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's not very nice.
Of course they let him out.
Carl.
Of course they let him out back into the world.
Yeah.
And, you know, coach is like, all right, come on, because we've been losing these games since you've been in here. Go ahead and get back on this basketball team.
Yep, we need you.
It's probably football season because it was like September to, it was like October, November. So they're like, we've been losing, get back on this football team. So he's back in the normal world, 16, living his life. He found some drugs, but he's not like, he doesn't have many friends. And that's always sketchy
Especially
to
if
me.
you're like an athlete, you're on teams, you should.
People like him, but he doesn't. It's not. Relationships like don't appeal to him and friendships don't appeal to him. So he might like have conversations and stuff, but he doesn't like go out of his way to go hang out.
Asperger, like a
he just don't give a shit about people. No, he just don't. I just don't think he can make those relationships.
He didn't like sex, so he could have been asexual. I do know somebody who's asexual.
Well, how many?
So like he's not interested. I know I could come up with all of this. I'm diagnosing him with 18 things right now.
Okay. He's Asperger's and asexual so far.
Yep.
Great job, psychologist.
You're welcome.
So,
I'll write that down.
he gets a scholarship to go play college football.
Wow.
Yeah, he's that good. He gets a scholarship to Lane College, and it's in Jackson, Tennessee. They're in Detroit, so that's kind of far away. And he's a running back. And so he's actually excited about this, and so is his mom and his grandma, and they're like, okay, new chapter, like this can be great for him. Well, he does good for about 3 months, and he has an injury, and it's a career-ending injury, so he'll never be able to play again. So he's like, there's no point of being here anymore. Let me go back to Detroit. And he works with his stepdad in a mechanic shop, and he enrolls in community college there.
Okay.
So at least he wants to go to college. So he'll check in with his psychiatric doctors like he's supposed to. And now he tells them, I'm still having those great dreams. So those aren't going away. But now I'm getting urges to do them like in real life. What? And I'm not sure if I like girls or boys.
Okay.
Because he's had more sexual experiences, and I guess it's just not fun for him.
Gender fluid.
I don't know. It's just so weird. Okay, so here's October. He had done come home after senior year, right? After senior year, went to college. He's home by October. Okay. He knocks on the door of a young woman named Lenora. It was 11 in the morning. She answered the door, and she says, this is her quote, "There was a good-looking, well-groomed, very in shape, trim black man at my door."
Hey.
She would probably like, how you doing? That would be Caroline.
Come on in.
He said, is Charles home?
Oh, he's like, I don't want to see you.
Yeah, not you. Where Charles at? And so Lenora was like, no, sorry, no Charles here. So he just turned around, and she shut the door. Well, 10 minutes later, she comes back. So she's like, this is a little sketch. She puts that little chain lock that used to be on the door, and she answers it. Oh, and he asks for Charles again.
10 minutes later.
10 minutes later.
Okay.
So she's too nice.
Oh, no.
Lenora. She's like, well, there's no Charles here, but do you want to write him a letter? I'll go get some paper. I'll go get some paper and a pen.
Why would you want to write
And in case he comes, I'll give him this letter. And
wait, did she even know who Charles was?
No, Charles is his little brother. That's probably
she's trying to like get him to come in so she can like.
No, she's like she shuts the door. When she shuts it, that chain falls off, and he busts in when she's getting the paper and the pencil. So he busts in, and he starts to attack her and choke her.
Oh, hell.
And she screams and screams, and he gets off, and he starts running, right? Like he does good. You'll figure out he runs real good.
Well, because he's an athlete, so he's so fast. He's doing agility drills, running down the street, all these things. Yeah, I could see it now.
And so she called the police. She reported it, and the police like have no leads. They're like, well, what does he look like? She was like, well, good looking, trim, black man. And so they're asking other people, and they're just like, there's some random black guy knocking on doors asking for Charles.
He's going off the door.
That's his him. He's just randomly asking.
So if somebody comes to my door asking for Charles, don't need to let him in. I mean,
Charles, don't be friends with any Charleses.
I kind of want to let him in, but I won't.
No, not if they ask for Charles. Let them. They can ask for Cletus or something.
Okay, Cletus.
So 5 days later, like he's just kind of progressing a little bit. There's a 19-year-old young mom named Gloria that was found dead in an apartment. She was stabbed 33 times in her chest. Her windpipe was crushed. And the thing that he stabbed her with was like this wooden stabbing device, shank type thing.
Oh,
was like embedded deep in her spine. So he was stabbing her so hard in her chest, it was like embedded in her spine.
Oh, why was he so mad?
Why does he have so much anger?
I don't know.
The only lead that they had was there's a black man going around the apartment complex, knocking on doors, asking for Charles.
Oh, my gosh.
So the police write it down, but they don't do anything with it. They don't, like, send memos or, like, go to the news and say, beware of a black man asking for Charles.
Are we back in Cleveland?
No, where was that? What happened in Cleveland?
The Cleveland with the Castro.
Oh, yeah.
The Corral police.
They might have went to the same training. So, because there was a Cleveland black serial killer too, so I got a little scared.
Oh.
Okay, so.
Oh.
The police were, they were like, people were like, did you dust for fingerprints? No, they didn't go to the crime scene. Then police said, well, the family cleaned it up, so there was no need of cleaning it. And so the family was like, no, we didn't clean it up. So there was just they didn't work the crime scene,
they didn't,
basically.
no,
So there was still nothing. So 1 month later, there's a lady named Diane Williams. She was attacked. She's the apartment manager. Oh. So she is at work and she's looking out the window and she's like, there's a weird black guy like lurking around. And so she asked a couple of the residents and they were like, yeah, that's the guy that keeps knocking on the door asking for Charles. Right there, had the police went to the news, done a conference or said, beware, let us know, call us if somebody's knocking on your door, if you see a strange black guy asking for Charles. Well, Diane was like, okay, whatever. She got off, she went home, and then there was a knock at her door, and it was Corral Watts, and he asked for Charles, and then he just shoved his way inside of her home and wrapped his hands around her throat. She tries to scream but can't because she's being choked. And then her phone starts ringing. That's the old days when it's like a phone and a receiver. So she tries to get to the phone and knocks it off the hook. So at least somebody's listening. So she's screaming and she's telling him what's going on. And he gets up and he's a runner. He's a track star.
Yeah, he's a track star.
He takes off and she's smart because she doesn't follow him, but she's like, let me see where he's going. And she sees the type of car that he gets into. She calls the police and she tells them what type of car it is. And they link it to Corral.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
And they put them in a lineup with 8 other trim black men. Probably real easy to find. Let's just go outside. It's Detroit, there's a lot of black people there. So the black men and Lenora and Diane are like, yep, this is him. So they got him, right?
Oh, no.
But... And then he admits to it. He's like, yeah, I tapped them and 15 other women.
Oh, shit.
Like
What's up with it?
I know.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, what about Gloria?
Oh.
What about Gloria? Because she's the mama that was stabbed 33 times. And he was like, no, I was in that apartment complex, but I didn't kill her. Which is sketchy because all these other women are white. Gloria's the only black one. So he's killing white women. He doesn't care what they look like.
No, he's killing the black one.
He's attacking white women.
Yeah.
The black woman is the one that was killed.
Oh.
And so they can't tie him. There's no evidence because they didn't brush the crime scene.
Ew.
And
he's not admitting to that one.
He's not admitting to that. So they really only have him like for assault, but you can't even keep him in jail for assault right now because I guess it's got to go to trial or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But when they did catch him, he was stealing lumber for some reason. Maybe he was building a basement, like
if that's
Joseph Fritzl.
If that's what he's stabbing people with, he's still in the
he was
of
making
wood.
the. Okay, I didn't even think about that.
I don't
Well,
know.
he was stealing lumber, and so they're like, we can get him for theft. So we can at least keep him for 45 days.
Oh, yeah.
So he serves 45 days in the same mental clinic that he went to before. So doctors were like, come on in, Corral. And they determined that he is very dangerous and that he will offend again.
And they let him go.
And they say he has antisocial personality disorder.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Then he finally stands trial for the assault and he gets 1 year, but I never found if that's really in jail or like back in the mental facility. I don't know, but he's out within a year and he's good looking. So he gets a girlfriend real quick. Mm-hmm. He's dating a girl named Dolores. They have a daughter named Nakisha. And then he leaves the next day, basically. He's like his daddy. He's like, I can't be having all these kids. My mama shouldn't have had all these kids in the house.
He only had one kid.
No, he didn't want any.
Well, he's stupid.
Look, his daddy got pissed when they had 2. He was
He's
okay
like,
with
Charles?
one.
Where's Charles?
So he left. Dolores was pissed. Come to find out, he had a side piece named Valeria.
Oh, that sounds like some kind of disease.
STD.
You got a STD, Valeria. I don't know about that.
I don't know either.
Mm-mm.
But he ends up marrying Valeria, and Valeria's like, I got the man of my dreams. He's good looking. He's a mechanic.
He could go with his hands. He could
makes
run
all
fast.
these things out of wood. He can run
knows
fast.
Charles.
He's very devoted to this Charles guy. So she's at first like pretty in love, and then he starts like transforming. She's like seeing him in these dreams that are really night terrors. So he gets up and he's swinging in the middle of the night. She gets like hits.
What?
He is like actively fighting people in these dreams.
Oh my gosh.
She does it, and she stops trying to wake him up. She just like gets up and goes in the other room. Then he starts getting obsessive with her. Like, she's not allowed to wear makeup. He throws it away. He flushes her wigs down the toilet. She's not allowed to dress up. Like,
First
he
of
just
all,
gets
how did they even get flushed down? I
I
would be
think he
like, that's just going to clog real fast.
I think he just tried, but she wasn't allowed to do any of that. She just had to look like shit all the time.
Oh, no.
And he would become real angry. Well, she also said they would have sex. And
he would flip her over and do it from behind.
No, he would just get up and then leave and be gone in the middle of the night for hours. So she would wake up at 3 in the morning.
Was this somebody I was
Were
married
you married
to?
to Corral? She would wake up at 3 in the morning and he would be gone. And he would come back and he wouldn't say a word, but sometimes his clothes would be torn. And she's just like, oh, okay, you gonna mow the lawn?
Do you need me to sew your clothes? You need me to sew your holes up? Hey, boo, you would get a needle and thread?
So, I guess in hindsight, she was like saying, oh, yeah, I guess it all. Well, what she didn't know is that like there's about to be a series of attacks that her husband's responsible for. So he always starts this shit in October. It's a whole new October the next year.
He has some Halloween, or is he what's his sign?
I don't know.
I don't know anything about signs. I wish I did. I would say maybe Scorpio. Like, I don't know what the fuck. Scorpio?
Sure. Is October. Peggy, 22 years old, worked for the airport.
Peggy.
She was found dead in the front yard of her boyfriend's house.
Was she white or black?
She was white.
Oh,
she wasn't
so
robbed. She wasn't raped. She was simply just strangled and left there like displayed.
He just
to be found.
strangles everybody.
You think?
Oh.
No clues, no leads, no nothing. Couple weeks later, it's Halloween, and now there's a 40-year-old. So it's a 22-year-old, now 40-year-old lady named Jean Klein. She too is white. She was found dead in her yard. She was stabbed 13 times and left for dead. This happened at 6:45 in the evening on Halloween. What are people doing?
Trick-or-treating.
Yes. People were trick-or-treating all around.
They thought
her.
She was a cop. They thought she was a prop.
A prop.
They thought she was
So they were just
a
like,
decoration.
oh, look at that. And that's
that
happened
looks
before.
so real.
Yes.
Oh.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh
Isn't that crazy?
Gosh.
They thought it was a Halloween decoration. Nobody called the police. The next morning, somebody found her, and they
They're
finally
like,
called.
can you clean up your decorations? Like,
It's over.
bitch, she dead.
So, again, no rape, no robbery, like nothing. So the police are like, he's just killing to kill. Whoever this is killing to kill. Like, there's no like motive behind it. Okay, so all they know, now they're interviewing people because there's two bodies and they're two different neighborhoods, and they're like, have you seen anything suspicious? People, this kills me. People are like, there's this good looking, well built black man in the area.
He's looking for Charles.
At the time. And so the police were like, well, great. It's fucking Detroit. There's black people everywhere. What am I going to do? I hope everybody listening knows I'm black.
Hello, hello, ghouls,
ghosts,
goblins,
and everything in between. Welcome to Across the Veil with host Emma
and Zelda. We're two amateur cryptozoologists on a mission to explore the things that lie Beyond.
Beyond what?
I don't know. The veil? It just sounds poetic and mysterious.
True. Learn about cryptids, folklore, monsters, and things that are just kind of haunted.
Anything that seems a little otherworldly and strange.
Just like us. New episodes out every Thursday on all of your favorite podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Follow us on Instagram at across.the.veil and Twitter at acrosstheveil1.
We hope you join us next time.
Across the Veil.
Okay, so then a month later, I guess he takes off for Thanksgiving because he didn't do anything November, but in December.
Oh, he takes off for murdering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's another woman found dead outside the cleaners. She was stabbed 12 times.
Okay.
No robbery, no rape. Her name is Helen Mae Dutcher. She's going to come back later. You can write her down.
Let me write her down.
Helen Mae Dutcher, H&M Cleaners.
Okay.
Okay. So the police are like, none of these women are linked up. Like, there's no common factor with them.
Yeah.
Are they random? Are they related? Are they unrelated? Or were they even committed by the same person? Like, they just know that they have these random white women just being killed.
Yeah.
So 2 more bodies come up that month. Dawn and Malik. Dawn was asphyxiated. Malik's head was removed from her body. Decapitated. Her body was found, but her head still has not been.
Did he eat it?
Where's the head? I wish.
don't know, because
he's not that interesting.
Well, I don't know. Maybe Charlie Brandt took it.
Maybe Charlie Brandt.
Maybe Charlie Brandt took the
Did
head.
Charlie Brandt go to Detroit at all?
Listen, I
mean,
don't even know.
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I would stop and call the police and pretend like I'm damn near FBI. So the next month, here's Shirley. Shirley's 17 years old, and this one's sad. I mean, they're all sad. This one's sad. She's 17 years old. She's getting off work, walking home because her and her boyfriend had got to a fight, and she's like, I don't want him to come pick me up. I only live 4 miles down the road. So she's walking, 4-mile walk. Well, boyfriend feels guilty, so he comes and he tries to come and pick her up, but she's pissed and she doesn't get in the car, and he begs her and she doesn't do it. So he's like, I'll just go meet her at her house. She's close. Well, she never shows up. When she's found, she's about 100 yards from her front door, and she was stabbed to death. The first stab wound killed her, went through like her rib cage and punctured her heart. And he mutilated her face.
Wow.
So when she was found, her face looked like a maze of like opened like wounds.
Oh,
so it's like he's progressing each time. And why the mutilation? Does he not like their beauty? Does he not like that he don't like their beauty? It's just weird. Okay. So police are like, is this the same person? They're still like questioning.
They still have no idea. There's nothing in common.
Yes, because what we know about serial killers, at least to this point, is like there's a pattern.
This is why we don't do black serial killers, because it's real confusing.
They're breaking all the rules. Breaking all the rules. So the style of the murder is different. He's strangling them. He's stabbing them. He's decapitating them.
He's just all over the place.
He's suffocating them. There's no MO at all.
No.
And they do know that he's killing just to kill.
Yeah.
And then by July, here's Glenda, and she was stabbed 28 times. Okay. So then he's like, let me try to do 2 in one night.
Oh.
So he kidnaps and abducts a girl named Lily Dunn. Witnesses literally see her kicking and screaming and getting inside of a car, being drugged inside of a car. She was never seen. And then 45 minutes later, Irene was partying all night with her friends, walking home. He came behind her and sliced her throat, but she lived.
What?
Yeah. But where she was killed, there was a surveillance video. So the police are like, let's pull this footage.
She was attacked?
Yeah. She was like, because she was leaving like downtown bars and stuff. So there was companies that had video. And so they found this car, and it was a brown Grand Prix. and they
Wasn't
were
a
like
Honda or anything?
1978 Pontiac Brown Grand Prix. And that's what Corral Watts drives. But they don't know this by now.
Oh, my gosh.
You know, they're just like, okay, at least we have a car. So that wasn't linked to Corral Watts, and it kind of falls by the wayside. But now they're like, we found a pattern. We found a pattern.
Oh, what's the pattern?
The pattern is all these women are being abducted in between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. Sunday morning.
What?
So they coined him the Sunday morning slasher.
No, they did not.
They did. And if you Google Corral Eugene Watts, he's called the Sunday morning slasher.
Okay, I'm going to Google
So
it.
now they're saying, okay, we do have a serial killer.
How did they figure that out? That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I think is scary is like, how you gonna kill on the Sabbath? Like, how you gonna kill anyways? But don't be killing on Jesus' day.
Probably that's when people like have their guard
down, because it's Saturday night, they're getting off work, they're tired, or they're coming home from partying, they're not paying attention. Like, it's just vulnerable, and maybe that's just when he hunts, or does he hunt? So this is what, we have two types of serial killers. We have organized and unorganized.
Okay.
He is definitely unorganized, right?
Yeah.
He don't have a plan, or does it seem like he has a plan?
Like he's not hunting them. Like he's not like...
He's an opportunist.
Because some of them are like, they will for weeks, if not months, track, and they'll follow the person, and they'll figure out like what they do, what's their schedule, so then they can...
That's why he would be called an opportunist, because he just sees an opportunity and he like seizes it and takes it. And then he don't even have a plan on how he's going to kill him. It's just like whatever he feels like doing in the time.
Yeah.
Very impulsive. And this is why like he would be a B-team serial killer, I think, because it's uninteresting. Yeah. Like he's got a lot of numbers, we'll see. But like we like the people who like they have a plan, they have a pattern. They eat them.
Like a secret life.
Yeah. Like... Anyways, okay, so they're like Sunday slasher, and this is
Sunday
now
slasher.
on the news and in the newspaper. So Detroit's going crazy. They're like, we got a serial killer. It's okay if it was just like random women being dead, right?
Yeah.
But now it's one person doing it and targeting these women. So they establish a Sunday slasher task force. At the Detroit police.
Yes, they do.
So now they're like, okay, we got to really be paying attention. Well, this one guy, his name is James Authors. He's a police sergeant, and he's like, you know what? This is a little familiar. And he's like, I remember a couple years ago, I arrested a newspaper boy for randomly knocking on the door of a woman and beating a woman for no apparent reason. So he called up his friends. He's like, Corral Eugene Watts. Look him up. He fits the profile, which there's not really a profile, but he did something similar. Look him up. So the police task force is like, okay, we'll add him to the list. It's a long list.
It's a long
list of well-trimmed, good-looking black men in Detroit, Michigan. Well-trimmed, well-built, athletic, but I mean...
Asking for Charles?
He don't even need Charles no more.
No, he doesn't even need Charles.
He don't need Charles. So, they add him to the list, but the list is so long, there's so much crime, he spreads so thin that they just they don't get to him yet. And so it's October again, and so here's some attacks happening. So this is Sandra. Sandra's coming home from night school. She gets attacked, but she doesn't die. She gets stabbed repeatedly. She ends up pretty paralyzed. But when she wakes up, she's able to tell the cops that where she was and that she had saw Corral 3 times that day. She thinks she saw Corral 3 times that day. She thinks she saw Corral at the bus stop, and then at lunchtime outside of her school, and then that night when she got off the bus in the bushes.
Oh, the bushes.
I mean... And so the police were like, okay. And so they looked at the footage in that area, the video surveillance footage. They see another brown Grand Prix. And they're like, that's the same car. We've seen that car before. And so now I'm like, does he hunt? Is he a hunter? Or was she mistaken? Like, we don't know because we haven't really, nobody else has really said, survivors have really said that. We don't have any indication that he was a hunter. I still think he's an opportunist. So here's a Mary. You know we can't have a story without a Mary, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Here's
Yep.
Mary Angus. She
Okay.
was leaving a Halloween party. She was driving home. She got out of her car and she looked across the way and she noticed a well-trimmed black man in a hoodie.
I can't.
I know. Every single one well-trimmed, in shape, athletic. Okay.
Okay.
Here's where, so he's wearing a hoodie and she's like, oh, let me hurry up. Let me get to my front door. She's by herself. He bent down and she's looking like he's tying a shoe.
Uh-oh.
He's in his track. You know, you get down in the blocks.
He's in the blocks.
He's in the blocks and he gets up and he takes off in a full sprint towards her. And she said, I found this scream from like the bottom of my gut and it was so loud. And he took a hard right when he heard that scream. I guess it scared him too. So her life was spared and she was able to call the police because he got scared. But can you imagine, like, he runs, like, use his track skills.
He's like, Usain Bolt over here? Or whatever. Like,
It was Usain. He's a runner. He's a track star. Okay.
I love that she screams so loud.
Yes. And he's just like, took a hard right.
He's like, oh, F this B. I'm not dealing with this loud nonsense. This is too much work.
So
he's not a hunter. That's weird.
No.
I mean, he's confused. He's very
confused. He's like got 14 personalities, I think. I don't know.
Whatever's happened to his wife at this point.
She's just at home, sewing his clothes when he brings them back torn. She's just sewing them up.
She's sewing them up. His stepbrothers and sisters, like 18 of them. Who knows what they're doing?
She probably babysitting. So she calls the police.
Yeah.
And task force is like, this sounds like Corral. Let's bring her in. And they put a lineup of pictures and she picks Corral out of all of them, right? And so they're like, it's Corral. Let's go get him. But not really, because it's dark. She says he's dark, he's black, and he has on a hoodie. That could be anybody. That could be anybody. So I guess they're thinking it's not going to hold up. So why even drag him in here? And they don't even bring him in. And 5 days later, he kills a 63-year-old. Like, look at these ages.
22, 40, 60. What?
17. Now it's a 63. Her name's Lena, and she's found hanging naked from a tree in her own front yard, and she's hung by her own black belt from her trench coat.
What?
She's naked. This will be the only time he sexually assaults somebody.
Wow.
He channels his inner Kenneth McDuff and shoves a broomstick up her. And that's how she's found. Hanging with a broomstick. Horrible. With the broomstick. Yes.
Oh, my.
So 2 of the detectives on the task force, there's Heath and Bunton are their last names. They're like, screw the rest of this list. We know who this is. His name's came up 45 times.
Yeah.
Corral Watts. We just need to tie him to all these murders. So they're like, let's at least put a tell on him. So they do, and they see him in action following a lady that's walking home from work. He's following her in his brown Grand Prix. Like 9 blocks he goes. She turns. He turns. She goes and she notices him. She hides, and then he waits for her to come out and finds her. But he doesn't touch her. She gets away, and when he's looking for her, he gets out of his car and he's looking in alleys and behind dumpsters, and he's like, where did she go? He's pissed. When he turns around, the cops are there. What does he do? He's a runner. He starts sprinting. And so these cops were like, oh, no, we can't catch him.
No.
Let's get in the car. So they pursue the chase in the car. He's on foot, and they do find him. And only because his license and his registration and tags are out can they take him in. Because he still didn't commit a crime. Still didn't commit a crime. So they take him in, and they're like, we know who you are. We know what you've been doing. You've been killing all these women. And he's like, cool as a cucumber.
Yeah.
I need my phone call. And that's it. Like, they have no reason to hold him. But they do search his car, and they find a dictionary. And the dictionary, one of the students he killed's name was Rebecca, and it had Rebecca on there. Then they find some wooden carved, like, shaved knife things.
Oh.
And they found traces of blood. So they're like, let's run this blood. But that takes forever. They can't keep them. They have no reason to keep them there until the blood comes back.
I don't understand our system. This is crazy.
So he gets to go. He's the luckiest black man in the whole world. No other black man has ever left jail for if they even think that he's killed a white girl or assaulted a white girl. Him and OJ, the two luckiest.
Oh, my God. If the glove doesn't fit, must have quit.
Must have quit. So he's cool as a cucumber. He's not even nervous. He gets to get out, and he's free.
He is sociopath. Like, he has no,
like no
empathy,
feelings,
nothing,
no more,
nothing. He does not have anything. He doesn't care what he does at all.
So now he knows how it is to be hunted because they're tailing him, and they're coordinating with all the like surrounding police departments. So it's not just Detroit, it's Ann Arbor, because some of these have happened in Ann Arbor, shit, I can't talk, and all these places around there. So when he like travels to like from Waco to Belmead, Belmead cops are on him.
Yeah.
From Belmead to Hewitt, Hewitt cops are on him. So they're like that in all the different towns.
Yeah,
they are working together to try to catch him doing something, and they just don't. They don't. But they're also like he's playing real normal. He got a new girlfriend by this time, and he's like going out to eat with his girlfriend. And they pull his record, and they realize that he was the #1 suspect on the Gloria case, the very first mama that was stabbed 33 times, the only black woman. And then they found out he spent time in a mental facility. So they're like, it's him.
Yeah.
We just need proof. This is like validating that they know that it's him. And then they're talking to Canadian police, and murders are happening in Canada. Well, they got a tail on him because it's right there, like next door to Michigan. So they got a tail on him, but the tail can only follow him in the States. When he crosses that Canadian border, nobody's watching him. So he found a way to kill, even with.
I gotta look at a map.
I know, she's looking at a map.
Yeah.
She had no idea Canada was right above.
You know, it because of what I do, and I look at maps with my work. I was like,
you mean when you sub the geography classes? No,
I'm looking at the territory checks, girl. I've been doing territory checks. No, but like I was like, is Canada's right there? But these states up in the north are just so tiny, and I'm just.
It is right there. And then when we hear border, we think Mexico. Like, you go across the border, it's Mexico, but
you can just drive up over it.
Yeah.
Like I'm
just sure you cross a bridge and you have to like do something. I don't know if you need a passport. I don't know. I've never been. What do you need to do?
I don't know. We need to get a geographyist in here. A geographist.
Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Okay. So women are being killed in Canada, but they can't really do anything about that.
Okay.
And what's crazy is there hasn't been any local Sunday slasher attacks since they've been telling him right there in Michigan area. So then they put a tracker on his car, but this tracker had a date on it. And so they're like, we have until January something. And if we can't catch him doing anything, like, then our time is up. Well, they call him in, and they're like, we're just going to put the heat on him, and we're going to present the evidence, and we're going to get him to confess. That's their plan.
Yeah.
So they brought him in, and he was a robot. Like, no emotion, no confession, like straight denial for hours. Because they got the blood, they got that back, and you couldn't trace it. Like, they couldn't link it to anything. So that blood wasn't even going to help them. They were counting on that blood. So now they're like, we need a confession. Well, Detective Bunton says, you know what? Let me try this. So he goes in there, And he says, I know what you're doing. We know exactly what you're doing. I even know how you're doing it. So he grabs Corral and he demonstrates how Corral is sneaking up behind these women, putting them in a headlock and stabbing them or choking them, how he's doing it. And for some reason that made him bust out in tears.
What?
Like a first grader. And he even asked for his mommy.
Okay, whippy voice killer. Come on now.
So they call his mom up there, but they're like, oh, let's get mom up here. Because sometimes they'll confess, like Chris Watts confessed when his daddy came up there. So maybe they're like, let's get mom up here. He may soften up and he may talk. Well, he got smart real quick. He dried up those tears real quick. He still didn't talk.
Alligator
Mama
tears.
took too long. And guess what?
What? He killed a police officer.
He walked right out of Detroit PD one more time. And they were pissed. He was like, you know what? Let me just go. I got to go. So he left town, and guess where he went?
Canada.
Texas!
Oh, hell!
H-Town, baby. He was like, let me go to H-Town. Dean Corral's been getting away with killing all these little boys. I'm probably safe with killing. And sure enough, H-Town was like a great place for a serial killer because they had like 688 deaths that year, 710 deaths like in 1981. So he's like, I'm pretty sure I can get some, cover my ground. So he gets a job. He stays with some friends, and now he's in Houston. And Bunton is like pissed, Detective Bunton, because he's like, man, he's gone. We'll never get him. We'll never get him. He's going to kill again. So he gets an envelope and some stamps
and some labels
and he mails all, like, the whole file.
Did they know how that he went to Houston?
He found out because he saw where his last check was forwarded to his new address, and it was in Houston. So he called up the Houston PD, and he was like, you got a killer coming. I'm going to send you some stuff in the mail. So 3 weeks later, they got this big packet. No. So send them some stuff. And Detective Bostic received it. And so Bostic is like, okay, let me look this guy up. He had just got a job at a mechanic shop. So he went to the job and he told the boss, and the boss fired him. Well, Corral's smart, right? Corral like tells everybody around. He's like, well, I'm just going to go to Dallas. Screw Houston. And he tells people around there. So now the word is he's going to Dallas. So this detective calls up Dallas PD, sends the paperwork, and Houston is big. He just moves to another part of Houston. Like, he stays. So they think he's gone, but he stays. Gets a new job, and he starts...
I guess they don't check, like, if you're a mechanic. I mean...
I don't know.
I don't know. You know,
I mean, what are they going to check? He ain't got in trouble for anything except for the newspaper stuff.
How he can't get in trouble for anything. I don't understand this world.
He's had like assault, and that's like a misdemeanor. It's like getting
just because they don't have they don't have anything.
No, or he'd be arrested and in jail. They don't have any reason to hold him and keep him in jail. All they have is like
all these people who identified him.
But what evidence is there? Like, one lady was like, and it's always dark. So the lady in the hoodie, she was like, yeah, it's pitch dark, and he's a black guy in the hoodie. Well, is that any lawyer could tear that up on the stand? The two ladies, they did get him for assault, but then that's really it.
So confusing. I'm so
I know.
mad about it.
I know. That's why he's not in jail, and that's why all these other people like are gonna go killing. So now he's in Houston, and he's at a bar. This is September 5th, 1981. He's drinking, and he sees a woman leave the bar, get in her car, and go by herself. So he gets in his car, Grand Prix, and he follows her home. Well, he didn't know she lived in Austin, so luckily he had some gas. So he followed her. That's where I'd be out, because I'd have done run out of gas, because I never have gas.
Oh my gosh, how far are
Where
we
she
going?
live?
I mean, that's
Is
not a
this
quick
still
drive.
Houston? He
This
probably
is
didn't
not
even
a
know.
quick drive. This is at least, 2 hours?
I don't even know. Probably, at least. Well, she was a UT student. She lived in an apartment complex down there. And he snuck up behind her when she was on her way to her apartment.
Dedicated to her.
She was walking by the pool. And he attacked her, but she fought back. and they both fell into the pool. And now he found a new way to kill because he just pressed her head down in the water.
No.
And he didn't fall into that stereotype because I guess he knew how to swim. It would have been like,
black people do not know how to swim.
She was like, oh, he's black. Let's jump in the pool.
Yeah.
But he knew how to swim. So she died. And the police, she was found the next morning, and the Austin PD ruled it an accident. I guess they thought that
she was drunk and fell in the pool.
And fell in the pool because she didn't have any other like signs,
scratches
of
or anything under her nails. Does stuff go away if you're in water?
I'm sure it washed out.
Oh my!
What? Yeah. What kind of evidence would they find?
Well, they could look under the fingernails because you're always supposed to scratch somebody.
Yes.
You're always supposed to get stuff under your
but
nails.
if she was in the water
and then
all
if
night,
she
it was
had
gone.
like, but I wonder if like, I don't know. I guess if there's scratches on her. But I guess that dissolves.
I don't know that they even fought.
Everything you got some wrinkledy fingers and your scratches are dissolving.
So just 1 week later, he finds Elizabeth, and she's walking her dogs like a good dog mom would.
Oh no!
And her neighbor hears a scream, and he runs over there, and she's dead. One single stab wound straight through the heart.
With his wooden.
Nobody sees anything. Like he's that fast. Stab. Gone.
So basically, all you need to be is a sprinter, and you can kill millions of people.
A million people. Same night, couple hours later, he runs into Susie. She's walking into her home. He pushes her inside, attacks her, and stabs her 9 times with her own kitchen knife. Pushes her in her own kitchen, grabs her own knife, and stabs her 9 times. So, like, he's just like, sure, I'll just choke this time. I'll stab this time. I'll strangle this time. Like,
can we go back really quickly to the dog? And I wonder what kind of dog it was.
I don't know.
Obviously, it was a tiny little Yorkie, and it was not a dog that was aggressive. Because I was like, your dog usually would like.
Yeah.
That would usually.
It had to be a little dog.
That would usually deter somebody from attacking. But anyways,
think too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good call. So, here's the thing. This is Houston, and these murders just aren't that big of a deal because, like Detroit, there's a lot of crime and a lot of things are going on. So they're just kind of falling by the wayside to everybody else. But that detective, Bostock, was like, he didn't leave. He's still here because this fits the MO that of all this paperwork that Michigan guy sent me. So he's like, let me find him. And he finds him. And he puts a tracker on Coral's car, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, he's got him. Guess what?
What?
Coral ain't no Willy Foo-Foo.
Oh, my God.
He finds the tracker, keeps the tracker on there, and goes and pays cash for a Dodge minivan. And that's what he uses now to do his deeds. And that car's just sitting there.
Were they not watching him, I guess?
Not good enough. They were relying on the tracker.
On the tractor. Oh, my God.
Pay cash for it. There's not even like any paperwork linked up. So one girl was found hanging from a tree from her own tank top. Another girl was choked and stuffed into her own trunk. He would kill 10 more women while this short little time in Houston. 3 of them live. And he killed them all in a variety of ways. Okay. Here's his last, and some of them were happening like hours apart. But here's the end. He's only going to have 3 more victims.
Oh, gosh.
Imagine that. But these are different. So he runs into Michelle Mayday. She just got home and he snuck up on her, like going into her house. I bet you'll look over your shoulder every time you walk in your house now, because that's how he would catch them. Like, you're home, you're safe, but you're really not. He snuck her in. He took her into her own bathroom, ran the bath water, and I guess he liked drowning the UT students.
Oh, yeah.
So he drowned her in her own bathtub. Her mom found her the next morning. She lived on her own, but I guess mom came to visit, and that's how she was found.
Oh, my God. Good thing that I'm too big to be drowned in my bathtub.
Speaking of, my friend was like, who's listened to all our episodes, she was like,
oh, no.
Let me see this Caroline. She doesn't have Facebook, And I was like,
you know
Caroline?
You know when you picture somebody based on their voice and you have like it's always completely wrong.
That's not what I pictured. And I was like, what'd you picture? Well, she's always talking about how big she is. And I was like, because she's 6 feet tall. So I guess she pictured you as like a lineman. She can fit in a bathtub, y'all. She's just too long.
Yeah, I'm just too long. I'm long and lanky.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah.
Anyways. Okay. So he killed Mayday in the bathroom. 24 hours later, he was like, let me get a twofer.
Oh, hell. Hit back on that.
2 for 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 for 1
special.
They are roommates. Lori and Melinda, roommates. And he sneaks up on Lori as she's walking in and asks Lori where's her roommate at. And she goes, my roommate's not here. She's not here, right? Then roommate Melinda walks out of the shower and startles Corral. So she screams. And so Corral leaves Lori there and attacks Melinda and is choking her. Well, Melinda's smart because she's like, let me go limp and play unconscious.
Yeah.
So she did, and it worked. And as she's laying there, her eyes are like squinted because she's like, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? He goes back towards Lori. She says she remembers him like jumping up and laughing and like clapping because he's so excited he's about to get 2 kills. So he grabs Lori, takes her to the bathroom, runs the bath water. And Melinda was like, I got to go. So she jumps out of her window, but she ain't on the first floor. 20 feet down, she lands and she runs to a neighbor's and they call the cops. And I feel like the cops were like next door basically because the cops get there so quick. And he's running down the stairs when the cops are coming up. Well, he's faster than them. So he takes off. They run for a little bit and they catch him. And when they catch him, they are finally able to officially arrest him.
My gosh.
So now he is in Houston PD Police Department. Say yay.
Yes.
Yay.
Listen, I want to know how this does Linda or whatever's name, does she do like parkour? Is she like jumping off the roof?
I know. She said that she was hurt, but she didn't feel it because you like have all your adrenaline going.
Yeah.
So she and Lori actually lived. Like the cop went up there, and how does a cop not know CPR? He didn't do CPR. He like beat her in the back of her neck.
What?
But it worked. She spit up all the water and she's alive.
Well, there you go.
I know. So forget CPR. Just beat him in the back of the neck.
He was doing infant CPR.
I don't know what that was.
What you do when the infants pat him on the back of the neck.
Yes. Okay. So now he's in the jail. And so it's like, oh, yeah, we got him. But do they really?
Oh, do not.
What crime did they really catch him in?
A murder crime. Attempted murder.
Okay, so attempted murder. There we go. So they're like, let's get him. Let's get him. We know he's did all these killings, right? We caught him in the act, but nobody died. So it's Texas justice system.
Oh, my
And so they
gosh.
decide, they got a plan. They're like, we're not going to prosecute. We're going to give him a deal. Take a shot, because listen to this deal.
I can't. I'm about to cheat.
The deal is
I'm gonna look
he's going to get immunity. Don't read it. He's going to get immunity for all of his murders
Why?
if he confesses.
Oh.
So they want him to confess to every murder that
Okay.
he did in Houston, and he would have immunity. But they will try him for burglary with intent to kill because he forced his way into the house and he tried to kill Lori, right? So he's like, oh, yeah, this is Texas. This is good as I'm going to get. He will get 60 years, but that's better than the death penalty to Corral. Put the phone up. She's
I'm
cheating,
listening.
y'all.
No, I'm looking. I didn't. It says he was MR, but I didn't.
IQ 75.
Well, I know. I don't know
Yeah.
what that means.
So, but he ain't. He was smarter, a lot smarter than the number said.
Listen, I probably have an IQ of 3, but I'm not MR, but
Yeah.
like I'm not super smart, but like
Yeah. Now we call that intellectual
I know,
disability,
it's some-
but
oh,
yeah.
I see.
I don't know that he would really be that these days. I think he was a lot smarter than that. But so listen, immunity for the
you can be not very smart, and you can have like your street smarts.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be like intellect,
like academically.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So immunity for all these, but if they try him for this burglary, that will be 60 years. So the police are like, that's a win. He's 30. He'll have to do 60 years without the possibility of parole.
Yeah.
He'll be 90, like he'll be dead.
Yeah.
So he'll basically die of prison. That's fair enough. And he's like, at least I'm not going to get electric chair or whatever they did back then. So he confesses to 12 murders in Texas.
Oh, he does?
He does. He tells them all. That's how we know, like, all the ones to actually put on him and not, like, somebody else.
Yeah.
So here's the problem. When it comes down to try him for the burglary, you have to have a deadly weapon. What's his deadly weapon?
The wood stick.
He didn't have it with him. He didn't attempt to stab anybody. Nobody testified about a wooden stick. He tried to kill him in the bathtub.
Oh, hell.
So the justice system does not recognize a bathtub as a deadly weapon.
Well, water.
So they cannot have the intent to kill. They have him as burglary only. And so his status moved to violent criminal to non-violent criminal. But he's still going to jail. And he still is going to be in jail for a long time. Like, he does like 20-something years. But Texas justice system, this is some Kenneth McDuff type stuff.
Oh, my gosh.
Back then, if you're a nonviolent criminal and you have like overcrowding of prisons, you are able to, every day that you serve in prison, that you don't get in trouble, it's a good day, you get 3 days off your sentence.
That makes no sense.
It at least needs to be reversed.
Like, why are you even sentenced this certain amount if you're not even, I mean, I
serve
do
it.
not understand it, which I don't understand a lot of things, but I really don't understand that.
So he was an ideal prisoner.
I bet he was.
Of course, because they know how to conform. And he starts racking up 3 days, so, I mean, how many, each week you serve is 21 days off your sentence. So can you see how like he can rack some days up? Mm-hmm. So he's supposed to be paroled in 2006. This is what
happens whenever they start putting in somebody who's like smoked weed, and they busted them smoking weed, and they're putting them in there for like
in jail,
years and years, and then you have these crazy murder people who are getting out in like 3 days
because there's too many people in jail for weed.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, okay, so they're like, he cannot get out in 2006. Like, we can't do this. We did this a couple years ago at Kenneth McDuff. We hadn't heard the end of it. Like, we cannot do this again. And then Michigan up there, they're pissed, right? Because they never got to try him for all the shit he did up there. Yeah. So they're like, you know what?
We didn't
sign an immunity deal for Michigan's murders.
Did he not talk about those murders?
No. Because they kept it to Texas. You know, we're only worried about what happens in our state. So the immunity deal was for Texas only, which was good because now Michigan can come and finally try to prosecute him for the murders that he did when he was in Detroit.
But they didn't have any evidence.
And so it's like, well, what do you have now that you didn't have
earlier?
then?
Yeah.
Well, they found a witness. The girl's name, who I told you to write down, Helen
May Dutcher. Oh,
Dutcher. She was the one that was found at the cleaners. Somebody saw her getting attacked and killed, and he saw the killer and the killer's eyes. So this guy comes forward.
So he didn't just say he was a trim black man with a hoodie.
With scary eyes. Yes.
Okay.
And so I guess this one counts now, 30 years later.
What the hell?
So he stands trial. He's found guilty for one murder of Helen May Dutcher. It's ridiculous. That's why we're laughing. It's like, oh my God, this is
so dumb.
He received a life sentence though, so yay!
He
He will spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole, except for he gets cancer.
He died of prostate cancer. I just looked it up.
A couple months later, and I was like, Caroline's gonna be pissed.
A couple of months?
Couple months later.
Died after a couple of months?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. But here's the worst part to me. He admitted to 12 murders. He later claimed to have done over 40, but if they look at what they think his pattern was, there's really close to 90 victims that he could have had.
I cannot.
So literally one of the most legit prolific serial killers
who nobody's ever heard about.
Nobody's ever heard of. Who is on the B team, though he was probably never on the B team in his life because he was a great athlete.
Absolutely.
He was on the serial killer B team.
Why? I mean, this is a crazy story. It's probably, oh my gosh.
It's crazy. So
he was, okay, he was only in, how long was he in jail before he died?
So I think he did like 23 years before they like moved him to
Well, at least he was in there for
yeah.
a few. I thought he was in there for like 3 days.
No.
I was about to be.
At least he did like 23 years.
Okay.
Then he went to Michigan and only did a couple months.
Do people, when they get cancer in prison, do they get like...
They do. They can get care.
They can't. Oh.
Yeah, but they're probably not the best of the care. But the thing
Like,
is
get,
like how quickly do they find it? Because you just don't get checkups.
I mean, do you go to the doctor?
Yeah.
Prison? You do?
Yeah, if you have a reason, they have to. So they found out he had it, but it was just probably too late.
Probably we pay for that. I'm sure we.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That. Yeah.
So that is Corral.
Oh my!
Eugene.
Carl, can you listen? That was his problem. He didn't even know his name.
He didn't know his first name. Now he's getting tag teamed. Who's tag teaming in Hale? David Parker Ray. Is David Parker Ray still alive? I can't remember.
No.
David Parker Ray, Ariel Castro, and Dean Corral are all tag teaming.
Yes, they are.
Corral Watts right now.
It's like on the American Horror Story where they have like a dinner and it's like all the killers. Mm-hmm. Oh my god!
No, but they're tag team. Like and they're waiting on Joseph too to join them. I wrote that down.
Oh my gosh! I can't
Fritzl.
believe that. Joseph Fritzl's probably gonna be like, he's gonna get there and he's gonna be like, listen up, bitches. I'm in charge now.
I'm in charge
now. I got the longest one. I got 24 years with my daughter.
Oh, God.
Can you beat me?
It's the worst. The worst.
I can't. Oh, my gosh.
Y'all, there is story number 2 for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed it a little bit. And because just get your palette ready because Caroline's going to bring you another one next week. Another serial killer. Our goal is to find one that you maybe have not heard about or you don't know too much about.
This next one you've not heard.
Okay.
I don't guarantee because you may, but I mean, I hadn't heard of it.
And she is not even telling me. She's just surprising me on the spot, and I kind of like it, but I don't like it. I don't know.
Get ready.
I like being in the know.
Can I just tell you one thing about him?
Yeah.
He's a cannibal.
Ooh.
We got a cannibal.
Oh, man, I'm already excited. I hope you guys are too. Bloodies, hey, what do y'all need to do? You need to email us story suggestions. We're about to start a new year, and we're planning next year. Wait, is this going to be this is going to be November when this comes out, right?
Yeah. It is November now, and it's going to be November then.
November. It's going to come out next week. So December is going to be very rogue. So it's just going to be anything.
I'm thinking, this is what I was thinking, like maybe I'm going to do some scam story or like a scam story. And then that's all I thought about actually. But yeah, ideas and suggestions would be great.
Yeah, because sometimes we just can't even think about it. And then tell all your friends, send them this week's episode that just came out.
Yeah, if you send one friend or 5.
10.
10. Send them the episode and just say, hey, listen, if you want to listen to this, it's great.
Say it just
like that. That's all you have to say. So convincing.
Yes. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to
stay aware,
stay alive,
and always be DTF.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.